Hello. This is our first ever CoachRx Podcast Network Live. So I'm really excited to be here and say hello to all of you that are joining us. I see a couple are popping in. Feel free to comment wherever you are catching this stream. And I should see those comments coming in. And I should have some very important guests joining me. Hopefully, they don't leave me hanging live with you guys all alone. But the intent here is for the coaches that are a part of the CoachRx Podcast Network to jump on with me once a week and just really check in on them, get them to share what's going on in their coaching world, get them to share a bit about what is going on in their day-to-day lives. It looks like David is actually joining us. Hey,
What's
David, what's
happening?
up?
See if we can
Well,
get a better light. There we go.
you are live. I was just giving everyone an intro.
Nice.
So 1 second, I'll formally introduce you. But yeah, intent here with these lives, we're going to try this every Tuesday throughout August at 3 p.m. Eastern. And whoever is available to jump on with me. So David's here, and I know a couple of others said that they are going to jump on as well. But intent again is to get to know these awesome coaches a little bit better, get a little bit of a sneak peek behind the scenes as to what goes on in the day in the life of a coach who's managing not only their own independent businesses or gyms in many cases, but also creating content, hosting podcasts, and then give you guys a little bit of behind the scenes insight into how they're actually creating their podcast, what themes they're focused on in content creation, what the process is like, and honestly, for you guys to just ask any questions, and us to do our best to answer any questions, but really just to connect with everyone on a deeper level, on a more real level, because we're live and we can't edit this. So no messing up, I guess, David. Without further ado, please
No
say
pressure.
hello to David Skolnick, who also happens to be here in the Phoenix, Arizona area with me, bearing the 116-degree weather that we're experiencing, excessive heat warnings.
Yeah, in an office where I'm waiting for a HVAC person to come out. It's great.
Oh no.
It's all right. It's all right. Most of the gym is cool. It's just my office tends to get a little warmer than the rest of the space.
Oh man, I hope that they get that fixed
Yeah.
quickly before it gets even hotter today. Well, what's going on in your
Yes.
week, in your world this week, David?
This week, big coaching week. I've got a couple new clients that started online yesterday. Just wrapped up a discovery call a moment ago, so sent over like a coaching recap and kind of a proposal for a first 6 week block for a dad who wants to remain competitive in pickleball and ultimate frisbee and play basketball without getting hurt. So taking kind of putting my strength and conditioning / physical therapy hat on for that call. And then that kind of builds into writing a bunch of training plans over the course of the next couple of days.
Awesome. Hey, I saw your post this morning about your client who had some back issues and was
Mhm.
deadlifting. And I don't know if you want to share a little bit about that, because I thought that was super cool and a great idea, just to help people realize that
Yeah,
they can do what they can do, and that doesn't mean they should do nothing.
yeah, for sure. Okay, so yes, I made a post this morning. I have a new client. The theme of the post was that an MRI or any sort of an image does not define you. I think I'm a physical therapist as well as a coach, and so over the last 10 years, I've just had countless conversations with people who come in with an MRI or an X-ray report and they are panicking, right? Because it has the word degenerative or it has the word dysfunctional or whatever, herniation, severe, all that sort of stuff, right? What is stenosis? That sounds bad. Oh my God, I've got arthritis. And it's like the fact that you're, 70 and you're just now finding out you have arthritis, like, don't worry about it. But yeah, this particular client, um, this week will be his second week of training. He's 65, has what is in all likelihood congenital scoliosis. So when I first onboarded him, he was a referral from a PA. When I first onboarded him, I was asking him how long he's had, some sort of curvature in his spine. And he mentioned, all the way back to elementary school, he vaguely remembers, the test where you're like in first grade and you bend over to touch your toes and someone like runs their hand down your spine. They're like, yep, you've got scoliosis. And they gave him a piece of paper, which he kind of remembers taking home and his parents being like, got it, and then just throwing it in the trash. Like, what are we supposed to do with this? So probably had scoliosis his whole life. And then over the last 6 years, basically from age 59 to 65, it's just gotten progressively and significantly worse. So he's lost about 4 inches of height in just 6 years because of that curvature. So he's got two curves. He's got a lumbar curve and a thoracic curve, and it's rotated. So he's kind of got like all the combinations that you could have with scoliosis and some pretty chronic back pain as a result. Not nearly as bad as you would think. Like if you just saw the MRI, you'd be like, "Oh, that guy's either dead or in a wheelchair," and right, and like feels like
Was that the
he's a
imaging
10
that
out
you
of
put up in
10.
the beginning of the post, like
Yeah,
behind
that's
him?
what he texted.
Because
He
it was
texted me
quite
that like
crooked.
the day before. Yeah, but very, very crooked, and you can't even tell that it's rotated, right? So he's got like a curve this way, and then a higher level of curve this way, but then the whole thing is rotated. Um, and so he's done injections and nerve ablations and epidurals, and some of them have been pretty effective, but he can't clean his house the way he wants to, can't do the yard work because being bent over, just like, pushing a vacuum for more than a couple minutes is pretty excruciating. He would like to be back on the golf course more often. He's a grandpa. He's got 3 or 5 grandkids that he only gets to see a couple times a year. So when he does, right, he wants to take advantage of that and be able to be a fun grandpa. So, yeah, basically the post was having him work on sort of like a modified version of a deadlift, kind of looks like a car deadlift, if anyone's familiar with that, or like a wheelbarrow style deadlift facing away from the load. So he was able to work up. So here, I'll give you a little backstory with like how I kind of approach older clients. Um, if they're working with me, whether in person or online, I want to do some sort of strength testing with them. So usually 5 rep maxes. A lot of times it's machine based or something supported, so balance is not a problem. And so for him, one of the things we wanted to do was some sort of a deadlift or a hinge pattern, 5 rep max. So he ended up doing 100 pounds for 5 through a modified range of motion with kind of a cool tool over at TG Mesa, which is where I see most of my clients in person. Um, we did a leg press, so 315 for 5, a chest press, a seated row, and then in the video I posted this morning, we were also doing some combo balance and upper body pulling and some golf specific mobility. So again, all of that was pain free or like mild discomfort. And so my biggest goal for him is, can we get you doing stuff, right? Like whatever your image shows you, cool. But I'm more concerned about, how you're feeling, how you're moving, what do you want to do? And, where do we start in a pain-free way that makes you feel empowered and then pushes you towards whatever goals you've got, regardless of age or MRI.
I don't know if you can see what's on the stage, but I just shared the post as you're
Yeah,
chatting.
I can say it. Nice.
Okay, cool. I'm still
Yeah.
learning how to use all of these features that are in StreamYard. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. So super interesting with him too. Oh man, I can't remember the timeline, but he had I believe a viral infection in his left inner ear that rendered one of his vestibular systems 0% function. So he can't hear at all out of the left side, and he also gets no input to his brain in terms of balance from the left ear. So he's got like 50% vestibular function. So we are working balance. He's got a bunch of foot surgeries because he's had RA for 15 years. So again, we're working around and through stuff, but he wants to be able to go to the driving range once or twice a week and play 9 holes once a week. And right now he can't do those things. And so it's like his fun goal.
That's so awesome, David. I love that you're getting to work with him, and I love that his desire to keep moving and living life is so strong. You have a comment that just came in the live chat from, it looks like Jumpstart with LG, and it just said he's pretty strong, David, and then she loves this. I'm assuming it's a she.
Yeah,
It might not
one
be.
of the fun little part is, so I said he was referred to me by a PA. I trained his PA as well. And so when we were doing the leg press max, he did 315 for 5, and then he said, "Add more weight. I want to see what I can do for 1," so that then his doctor would have to try and beat that because he knew she
That's
was
so
coming in
awesome.
like an hour after he left. Yeah,
That's
he's
awesome.
just really
So
and
I'm gonna
he's
put you
stronger
on
than
the
his
hot
competitor.
seat a little bit though, David, because we're
Go.
talking podcast network right now, and you
Oh,
have not re-kickstarted your podcast, but I know you've been doing a lot in terms of
yes,
cre- getting your new team members and coaches onboarded. Like you obviously migrated to CoachRx from said not to be named platform, which we're excited to
yeah,
have you on CoachRx, and you've launched a new program that you've been promoting pretty hard. So we'll talk about that, but then also your newsletter you've been going really hard on. So
yeah.
podcast is on your list, but just hasn't gotten there yet.
Yes, podcast is on my list. I have a bunch of podcast scripts, but at the same time, I'm thinking about whether or not I can create an opportunity to have a co-host. Because I like the conversational elements of podcasting, and I think part of why I just haven't sat down to start it is because the idea of just sitting down and talking by myself for 15 minutes doesn't excite me as much as the old format I used to do, which was like hour-long interview style.
Mhm.
That's like I don't know if that's manageable right now. So having a co-host is something I'm exploring. One of my coaches actually, she doesn't know, but I'm going to talk to her about that on Friday. But I think it'd be really cool to have two coaches with a format where some of the episodes are just her and I talking about something training related, and then also having both of us with an opportunity to bring guests on, whether that's virtual or I'm here in Phoenix, she's out in LA. We both have pretty big networks of other fitness professionals that we could highlight. Um, so yeah, I'm still bouncing around with how I want to relaunch my show.
I love that. Do you want to talk about like, well, first the name of your show and kind of like how it's evolved over the last several years?
Yeah, well, it's been cryogenically frozen for the last couple of years. The name of the show is The Stronger Life. It was formerly the Essential Strength Podcast. Previously, like I said, it was interview style. Um, I had you on the show years ago. I had Mark Bell on the show a few times. I had, and who else? I've had some pretty cool coaches, like the guy who runs Catalyst Athletics was a guest, and really the theme of that show was um, just kind of exploring strength in its many forms. So whether that was physical strength, mental strength, spiritual strength, financial strength, like to me personally, I think strength is sort of the bottom of the pyramid. It's the pillar on which everything else sits. If you're not strong, it's kind of hard to be anything else, physically or otherwise. So the new version of the show, I think I want it to be a little more fitness focused, right? Like really dial in what type of guests we want to have on and what kind of conversations we have. I'm a fitness educator as well as a coach. So I teach anatomy. I'm currently in development phase for like my own course locally, like an advanced training principles course in person out in Mesa. So being a place where kind of like all of the shows on CoachRx, like the network it's a place where fitness professionals can learn more about their craft from experienced coaches. And in my case, someone who's hosted 40 plus certifications all around the country and now teaches weekly. Um, yeah. So performance coaches and personal trainers and gym owners and maybe some, physical therapists and chiropractors who are in that world and nutrition would be more of the focus, but I'm a little bit of an eclectic person, so I would still want some element of like how does strength show up for those people outside the gym, like some sort of question of, what are your non-negotiables for living a strong life, and you can't say going to the gym. Like teaser, that's probably going to be part of the show.
Yeah. No, I love that. And I think the first iteration of the show was so awesome. And I get why you want to do more interview style because it's such a great medium to be able to truly connect with everyone, especially when we're like you guys are when you're operating remote and you're behind the screen and sending loons
Yeah,
all the time. It's like it's nice to have that break in the day to be able to connect face to face. So I get that. And creating a solo cast does put a little bit more pressure on like the prep and the organization for each episode because it's harder to have pauses and downtime when it's just you, right? I mean, obviously
yes,
you can edit,
yeah, right.
but I mean, when you're trying to just kind of be as efficient as possible and like deliver something great, you have to be a bit more prepared versus a conversation. You don't want to necessarily direct the conversation any particular way because you want it organically to flow where it's going to flow and have the most value come out of that interaction with someone for the listeners.
Yeah, I mean, podcasting is interesting. Like you said, there's a little bit of a give and take, right? Like there's a lot of control that comes from a solo cast, which is why I was initially thinking that and may still go that direction, right? Like I can block the time, I could batch record 8 episodes in a row. Doesn't sound super fun, but neither does like stressing about the fact that I don't have anything to share for a couple weeks because I don't have time or I can't find someone to interview. And that became a bit of a headache. Producing solo shows can be easier than like producing a video interview based show. That was kind of why I eventually ended up temporarily and now for an extended period of time turning my channel off. Was just the time commitment and the financial commitment to have things edited well. Like I wanted to be a high quality show, like high quality audio, high quality video on Instagram and stuff like that. And yeah, didn't have a direct way to monetize a podcast, which is not necessarily vital, but when you're spending money to produce something, that can eventually kind of hit a ceiling. But yeah, I mean, I loved every interview I ever did. Like, I love having the conversations with fitness people. Like, they're my favorite people to talk to. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you've been really doing a lot of interesting things with short form content since I end up kind of driving our marketing conversations in the podcast network. Maybe we can go there for a little bit if you have the time. But what are
Yeah.
some things that you think are interesting that you've been learning in the content creation process that other coaches may not think through or be fully aware of? That would be just helpful tips.
Yeah. Man, things people don't think about. So I do think consistency is very, very key. I think if you don't create content that you enjoy creating, you will stop. At least that's my experience. Maybe that's a personality element where if I'm not having some sort of fun with it, I don't want to keep doing it because I know there are other things I could do. But I think creating the content you enjoy creating allows you to play a long game as opposed to like constantly trend hopping. And to me, that creates burnout pretty quick because it's even if you're doing all the things that you see all the people hitting 1 million views doing and you're following the rule of like I'm looking for reels that 4x this person's, they have 10,000 followers but they're getting 40,000 views and therefore I'm going to try and copy their hook and whatever. The amount of time that takes, the amount of effort that takes, you're competing against people who probably have marketing budgets and professional videographers and all this sort of stuff, even in the time of AI. Like you're not going to keep up with a team. So I think that's all really important, doing the things that you enjoy and make it seem fairly easy. I think, again, for coaches, and this is sort of a realization I've had just in the last week or two, there's a big push to find your niche and then all your content gets geared towards your niche. And at this point, I'm kind of like, fuck it. Like I am the niche, right? Like,
Do you want me
if
to
you
share
want
a
to,
little bit about the why behind that?
oh, sure. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, because I know you and I geek out like offline on marketing stuff. So with a lot of the and I talked a little bit about this on when I was on Carl's show. I think it was last week that episode released, but the last algorithm to follow suit in some of these changes was the Meta algorithm, and they've made more changes to it rolling into 2025 that have made this, I think, more apparent. But I also think people are sort of blaming this shift with kind of the supply and demand challenges that have also been occurring post-COVID. So obviously when everyone was at home and lockdown, there was a lot more people online and people were consuming aggressively. So the supply to demand for like content creation versus consumption was like imbalanced in favor of creators. And now since people have gone back to life and more people have created content, less people are consuming, people are back to their busy lives, that supply and demand curve has kind of like rebalanced or level set. It isn't growing as fast as it, or people aren't creating content. The growth of content creation is outpacing the growth of consumption. So you have that like imbalance in the supply demand, which makes things more competitive. But with all these algorithm changes, the way your content gets distributed is just different now. So instead of like the follower based algorithm, you would develop an audience, they would know, like, and trust you over time. They would get used to your content. So you didn't have to be as thoughtful about how you were hooking them in the feed because of the fact that they knew you, right? They made the choice to follow you. Now content is distributed based on point of interest or they're calling more of like the interest algorithm versus the follower algorithm. And so if the algorithm has like a clear, consistent signal around the type of person that you're creating content for, it gets smarter at delivering that content to that kind of person over time. And if you're giving it mixed signals, like, and a niche could be very broadly defined too, right? So it's not like you have to be so narrow. But if you were talking about like, I don't know, hairstyles one day and then like fitness and nutrition the other day, right? It might not necessarily gain efficiencies over time and get really good at like targeting your content from a distribution standpoint. So I think that I am the niche thought is an interesting one because as a person, like a professional and just like a dad who's an awesome guy who loves fitness, your points of interest are also probably very similar to the group of people that you're trying to connect. So as long as you're kind of staying connected to that as a through line in all of your content, that probably would give the algorithm very clear signal. Cause I bet you there's a lot of overlap between your points of interest and those people's points of interest. I think it's, if you're someone who has an extremely eclectic hobby list or things that you want to create content around, that might create confusion. But I think that from a gist of it perspective, that's kind of like the big shift that has happened in terms of how content is
sure I'm
distributed.
not like the only coach who feels the frustration, right? It's like, I just learned things from you. Like, how am I supposed to know how, like I'm busy coaching people, right? I'm busy teaching people. I'm busy trying to find the time to create the content, while not neglecting the things that make me want to run a successful business, like my family. So it's like, where in the day, the week, the month, the year are you keeping up with, which is like why a show like yours and like a resource like you is so important. It's like, how am I supposed to keep up? And that's one of the illustrations. This thing used to work. Now it doesn't. I didn't know why it worked in the first place. I certainly don't know why it doesn't work now. Right? Is it an algorithm thing? Is it me? Do I need a better camera? Is it just like the quality is not there? Even like follow-up questions for what you just said. How much of that is caption versus audio versus what's in the video versus the text in the video? Like, how are they figuring out who you're talking to? Is it all of those things?
Yeah, all of those
But I
things.
think like
I think
I am
the
the niche,
direction.
to me,
Yeah,
all of
sorry.
those things are cool. No, well, I just the like I am the niche thing. Um, and again, this is just kind of from like recent experience. Rather than trying to think of what kind of workout would a busy dad want to do, it's more of a like, I am a busy dad and this is how I work out. And so it's like, if you connect with what I'm doing, if you want to be strong, if you want to figure out a way to find more time in the gym, right? If you're like, I'm not going to settle for 30 minutes anymore, which is kind of where I got to after 2 months of being like, I only have 30 minutes. Like, I can't keep doing this. Then it's like, you will relate to my content. And the one other thing I would say is, and this would be kind of maybe a tip for other coaches using social media. I think that, and you had a podcast recently about like in person and local networking. The other thing I found is like my social media content would not generally speak to someone like the client I just shared, who's 65 with chronic back pain and has gotten all the injection and is now looking for a fitness professional, right? Because I couldn't reflect that by setting up my own camera because I'm not him. So I think your strategy for who you coach in person and your strategy for who you want to coach online can also be very different.
Yeah.
And being okay with that. Like that's kind of where I'm at. Like I'm looking for a very different type of person in person versus online.
Yeah, for sure. And I love that you keep like an office in another location outside of the home office and that you pop into a gym to not only train but to connect with your other coaches in person because that's so important. I know it's something a lot of coaches I think are trying to figure out. How do they find like a local hub that they can sort of like go and hang and connect with and create content in? And I think a lot of gyms are starting to accommodate this for coaches where it's like these coaches might not be on staff, they might not be like renting space out of a gym, but they're allowing them to come in and to create content and to kind of be social and offer value to that physical space. And then in exchange, kind of do some collaboration online, which I think is super powerful. Because, yeah, I mean, all of us, as everyone goes independent and starts to think about supporting their own businesses, then but also like, how can you give back to those who are doing the same thing, right? Like that gym owner is probably also experiencing a lot of the same friction points, and like, how do they connect and make their facility stand out? But then you're going to create content there, which is also going to give them exposure. So I think having those conversations and finding those spaces that you can create in and help co-promote the facility too is also a smart idea.
Totally. And there's just like, there's such a chasm between I work at LA Fitness and I own my own facility, right? Like there's a lot of middle ground there, and there's a lot of benefit to being like an independent contractor inside of a facility. I mean, I found a few places where I have like enviable relationships, right? Like TG here in town, but you can't find a better gym to train clients out of in terms of what they take and what you keep. And then where I have my office, it's a friend's gym. It's private. It's 25 literal physical keys that he's given out. Like that's it. And then I can bring people in. But yeah, like the overhead cost of a gym, the number of clients I would have to open a facility would just dwarf what I'm able to do and be very profitable inside of another space.
Yeah, I love that. Well, let's pivot a little bit and talk to me a little bit about what you've been doing from a business standpoint, because you did recently launch that program for people who are very time poor
Yeah.
and only have 30 minutes. Tell me a little bit about how that project went and what it was like.
Yeah. So really cool learning experience. My first time really doing like a true launch, having a launch strategy, having drafted emails and like an early bird element and creating a custom exercise library and all this sort of stuff. The launch went pretty well. It's been it's nice to know that it is something that will exist forever, right? And that's one of the really cool things about, and one of the reasons I stoked to switch over to CoachRx is now I have basically built-in sales page building capacity where it's like a one-click, you've got this program element that I never had before. And so from a marketing standpoint, it's just awesome. From a user interface standpoint, instead of being like, fill this thing out over here, then go over there, pay me over here, and then I'll send you something via email, and hopefully you can open it and oh, that was the wrong format. Let me redo it. And it's like, if you can download an app, if you have an app store, this will work. Um, it's, oh man, interesting is the word I think I want to use the most. It was kind of an experiment, I think. The idea of like digital products is really appealing. It was one of those things where it's like sometimes the one-on-one coaching gets to feel challenging. So I was like, oh, a digital product would be really cool. And then you realize I actually really like the one-on-one element of coaching. So again, I'm kind of always going this way and that way and never fully committing to anything, but I think that's okay.
I think that's really
Yeah, no, I
common.
think, uh, yeah,
I think because you guys deal with so much, especially when you have
yeah,
like large client loads, you obviously provide like such a high level of service to all of your clients. The care and compassion that's there is like next level. So you can reach moments where you're like, maybe the grass looks greener over here, me trying this thing, right? And then I think what happens, which is kind of the intent of why we created the programs feature, to use it as a funnel into one-to-one coaching, because then you launch these programs, people get in, they get excited, but then they have a lot of questions and they need customization. And you're able to interact with them one-on-one through messaging. So then you're realizing, wow, I want to serve this client more directly, and it creates the opportunity for a conversation. Well, I think one-on-one might be a better solution for you. And also I would enjoy helping you evolve, more
yeah,
specifically to your needs.
100%. And I think as a coach, one of the things that this was, I think I probably learned this lesson multiple times. This was maybe just the most prominent version of it was almost any time one of the top three reasons for doing something is like, that sounds like it'll be less work. It's like, that's probably something you shouldn't do. That's probably a sign that like your reason for doing it is not awesome. And as soon as you realize how much work it is, you're just like, oh shit, I got into this. Right. And so again, like a digital product, it's a ton of work up front. It's honestly more work than I anticipated to like nurture once they're in. And the whole idea, right, of like a digital product is it's significantly less expensive for the user than going straight to one-on-one, but it needs to be like a really high level of care and interaction, I think, on some level from the coach, at least off the bat, if you're going to use it as something like you mentioned to show what amazing results you could get from a one-on-one relationship with that coach. So again, it's been a learning experience of like how much goes into the front end, how much then needs to go into the back end, how different is it than the one-on-one coaching? Could this be done more with like free educational resources versus programs, right? And so again, it's like this constant evolution of try the thing, test the thing. That's at least one thing I think I've been very good at in my career is I'm pretty quick to take action and I don't get excessively emotionally invested in the project so that if it doesn't go great, I'm not like the sky is falling, like I'm just kind of on to the next thing. Um, and so, yeah, it's been a big learning experience, I would say.
I love that. And you onboarded a couple of coaches onto the team too. And how's that going?
Good. That's another area where like I just have growth to do from a kind of like a leader manager standpoint. It's hard to find the time to do those things when you're trying to manage a group of clients and then figure out where the right time is to do some of the coaching and step into more of the leading. Um, Ideally, not having to like yo-yo back and forth on that too much. That's probably been the biggest challenge for me as a coach. Is like I think I'm ready to give away clients and support a new coach. Then a few things happen. You're like, oh, now I need more clients of my own, right? So that this is still a viable, profitable business, which then leads to like you got to pull back on the leadership side. And it's again one of those things, especially when you're like kind of online and remote. You don't get a ton of instant feedback, and you're not sure how everyone else is doing it. So yeah,
I was
but it's
listening
been
to
really cool.
something
Like
this.
having other coaches from the CoachRx standpoint, right? Like having shared access to templates, having shared access to programs, having shared access to forms and waivers and all that sort of stuff to streamline, I think is massive. Like I've got 5 years of templates and programs and customized programming for every possible goal that then I can help share and bring coaches on and start creating even more. Um, so I think we have a really, really cool environment to deliver really, really high quality coaching to people.
Yeah. I was listening to something this morning. You made me think about it when you were just sharing. And I thank you so much for just like being open and like really pulling back the curtain behind what's going on in your business because I mean, I know how successful your business is. I also know you as a human and just how hardworking you are and how dedicated you are to like over delivering. So
Yeah.
for you to even like open up and say anything that is like not perfect, I'm just like, I bet it's way beyond what you're even sharing a little bit, just knowing you. But I was listening to something this morning while working out and I was podcasting. It was about just productivity. And the point that was made that really stuck with me was just this like kind of we overuse the word like I need new systems. And we forget that just because those systems are in place doesn't necessarily mean that like the energy, the efficiency, all the improvements that we want to have from the system being in place is going, it's may not be that may not be the root problem. The systems obviously play a key role. Oh no, I might have lost you, David. Hopefully you'll pop back in. But the point that I was going to make was that it's also about rhythm, right? And this is something we talk about on the OPEX side of the house all the time. It's a basic lifestyle guideline that James has hammered pretty hard over the years, but rhythm in terms of how we actually run the system, how we actually, the energy we bring into our day, how we structure our day, how we structure the types of work that we're doing through our day. And sometimes it's just like checking ourselves and reevaluating, is my rhythm off? You know, like, is my day to day or throughout my week, am I just kind of like reacting and taking things as they come at me? Or am I really thinking about the flow that I'm creating throughout my week? This is when I manage check ins. This is when I manage client comments. This is when I program. This is when I set aside time for planning and content development. This is when I actually create and schedule content, right? Like thinking about all the responsibilities that you have as a coach. And yes, of course, are the systems in place to make that efficient for you to execute? But more importantly, what's the rhythm that you're bringing into the week and the energy that you're bringing into the week? So I hope that was, I don't know, I hope that sparked something for someone else. Because for me, it did, just for me and my marketing brain. The same way that you can be that reactive when it comes to coaching and just wanting to take care of things as they come onto your plate from your client roster. Happens to me all the time in marketing, right? If I don't get ahead of the week, the month, the quarter of content needs, I can get caught into that same reactiveness, and it really screws up with my own personal rhythm and the energy that I bring into the day. You're back.
Yeah, Google Chrome just quit randomly.
Oh, bummer. I don't know if you
Didn't even
heard
tell me. It's unexpected.
my
No,
rant
there you go.
about like systems versus rhythm,
Oh
but
yes, the beginning. Yeah.
well, I was just
Well,
saying
okay.
like sometimes I think it's really important for us to say like, okay, systems are one thing, rhythm is another, and just check ourselves and like, am I creating the ability for myself to have that rhythm in my week by the way in which I'm structuring all of the responsibilities and tasks that are on my plate and being true to like time blocking against those so that I can be proactive and not reactive? Because once we get into that habit of reacting to things as they come in and come up, it's okay if it's a day or two, but when it becomes a week or two, it totally affects our energy and the focus that we have. And that affects everything in the business, right? And I was just saying, like, I can emulate from a coach perspective, but it happens to me all the time on the marketing and business side for us.
Yeah, I mean, I know I've been that person, and I know people who like their strategy is like wake up, check inbox, like inboxes to do list. Right, that's only going to get you so far. But I think the quote that comes to mind as soon as you started talking about that, and this is one of like the core principles I have written for my business, and it's a good reminder to self a lot of the time, is solve current problems before seeking novel solutions. It's like, do you need something new, or do you just need to fix the thing that's not actually working? Right. And as a creative person, I tend to bias to let's just do something else. Like there must just be something new that I need to do. That's actually going all the way back. One of the reasons why I have not started the podcast yet. Like, do I need another marketing channel? Do I need another thing to make me feel like I don't have time to do everything? Right. I think I need to get some other ducks lined up. I need to, again, like fix the current problems in my systems that I have before adding another thing on my calendar that I want to treat as a non-negotiable. And I don't want to do 3 weeks of podcasting and be like, that wasn't ready. Turn it back off. I don't want to do that. It's the same with I need to get a bunch of newsletters written. I need to get a bunch of emails written. I need to get a bunch of blogs written so that then I can just take 12 weeks in their schedule and then create
And
the
to
time
your
to do the
first point
podcast.
about like loving the process and loving the content that you're creating, I love creating the systems and the structure for workflow optimization too. But then it's like it becomes the job you have to execute versus like I've created this sandbox from a creativity standpoint where I'm definitely inspired to share something because of X, Y, and Z. And that moment doesn't, I actually had this conversation with another coach around program design. And he was talking about how he just loves the art of program design and wants everything to be perfect, right? For the time that he's programming so that he feels like the most inspired when he sits down to do that part of his job. And when it's not perfect, it's like, of course, yeah, I can get through it, but I don't enjoy the process as much. And I think content creation is the same way, where it's like, you got to create the structure and you got to have these guardrails for efficiency, but you also don't want to like not enjoy it.
Yeah, Sandbox is a good, like I have a 2.5-year-old. It's like, do you have something on your calendar that says go play in Sandbox? Or is it like must build 3 castles in the next 45 minutes? Like one of those sounds fun, one of them does not.
Absolutely.
Right.
No,
Like
I
I have
love
a
that.
general idea of what I want to do in the sandbox today. That's
Yeah.
content creation for me.
So you shared that you were on a kick of like, I've got 30 minutes to train for my own fitness, and you were doing that for a few months. Now you've sort of expanded. I guess what was that journey like for you, forcing yourself into 30-minute workouts? And
Yeah.
what's it like kind of breaking free from that?
It was kind of fun, actually. It was like it was kind of coming off of a period of time where I felt like I was trying to use every bath time, every bedtime to like sneak into the office. It was like, the dog doesn't get walked today because I've got an email I need to write for tomorrow morning and all this sort of stuff. Or like I'm behind on programming. So I'm not going to the gym at all, or I've got this hour-long workout I wanted to do and I've got 23 minutes. So I guess I'm going to do 30% of that workout, and that's going to feel like shit because I'm not even warming up. um, and so again, kind of like after the program launched, knowing I had a bunch of stuff batched and knowing I, had made the sales that I wanted to make and could now just kind of respond to questions of the people in the program, and get back on a little bit more of like a routine. Because I was trying to do, right during the launch process, you can't then just ignore all the other things, right? So I was building towards the launch while managing personal training clients in person and online, teaching anatomy, doing all the things. Once all the launch stuff stopped and the program was live, I had a little bit more time. And the 30-minute workouts were great because it was bodybuilding style. I didn't really need to warm up. I could step out of my office straight into the gym. It made for really good content, really consistent. And the workouts were pretty fun, from a bodybuilding standpoint. It's 4 to 5 movements, taking everything really close to failure, 2 to 3 sets max, pretty standard. 6-day split. I could do 6 30-minute workouts way easier than 3-hour-long workouts, basically, with my schedule. And then after that, and this is kind of how my training always goes, I accomplish a goal, and about 2 weeks before the end date, I'm already sort of thinking, what am I going to do next? This is how every powerlifting meet prep I ever did was, right? I love squat, bench, deadlift until I'm about 10 days out, and I'm like, I just want to go for a run. I cannot wait to just have the ability to do something else because I love movement. I'm an exercise nerd. And I know too much to just do the same thing over and over. So kind of for the first time in probably a year and a half, I decided I really wanted to push strength. I sort of stepped away from a lot of that because the barbell was just causing too much pain with my personal injury history of herniated discs and surgery and all the things. So yeah, right now I'm training probably 4 or 5 days a week. I've created a bit more time in my schedule for that. And pushing some kind of unconventional strength goals like a Bulgarian split squat 3-rep max, a box squat. Yeah, Hatfield style, so I can load it up because it's not a balance challenge. So I think my unrealistic or my audacious goal is 400 pounds for 3 reps per leg. Box squat, I think I can hit 1,000. To be honest, I just squatted 900 for 3 on a belt squat, so I think I can hit 1,000 pounds for 3 reps goal. And then like a bench press variation and weighted pull-ups. I'm loving it right now with a little bit of athletic movement, some kettlebell flow as warm up, maybe some sprinting when it's not 115 degrees outside. I'm trying to be that like dad athlete, the father figure, not the dad bod. That's what I'm going.
Yeah, good clarification.
Yeah,
gosh, I
but
remember around.
that kind of made me think about like that's the like I am the niche. Like I don't necessarily need to. I like writing workouts for other dads. I think that's really cool. Like you don't need an hour and a half, but also if you want to be a dad who looks like me, at some point you're gonna have to do more. And I'm gonna make the time. And now if 30-minute workouts appeals to you, I've got that. If what I'm doing now, which is like way more athletic looking, appeals to you, we can do that too.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that you also like go through these moments of just wanting, like you need a time box goal to push yourself and achieve a particular challenge that keeps you inspired and engaged. But then also you're not like, it's not forever. There's something else that's going to come next.
Yeah. And that's what
Periodizing.
every client ends up wanting that too. Right. A lot of people I've worked with have been like, the reason I stopped working out is because it got boring. I was like, that's just you not knowing enough.
Yeah.
Right? Or you thinking there's only one way to accomplish something. And there's 100 ways.
Well, keep me posted on that Bulgarian split squat PR.
I will.
Around this time last year, I tried a little personal challenge with a B stance RDL, and I wanted the 150 for reps. So I can't remember if I did 8 or 10, 3 sets of 8 or 3 sets of 10 with the 150, but that was a moment where I was like, all right, I still got it.
Barbell or trap bar?
Dumbbell.
Oh, dumbbell. Okay.
Yeah, dumbbell B stance
nice.
RDL. And I had a slight assist. Had my hand on a bench just for stability.
Okay.
I was very glute focused, still very glute focused, but it was just for fun.
Well, I can tell you, I was training somebody yesterday, and I sat down on the floor to demonstrate something, and I was like, "Oh, there's my glutes from those Bulgarians 72 hours ago. Still feeling them." Yeah,
I know.
never gets easier.
They're a favorite in my my husband's accessory work as well, and I can always tell when the volume and intensity is increasing because he will run in from the garage and throw up in the bathroom.
Yikes!
That's one that just gets
Pushing.
him all the time. I don't. It's like any other exercise is fine, but heavy, high
I
volume Bulgarians.
I went home after my last. I was 3 sets of 8 this week at 70%, and I told my wife, I was like, "This is probably the first time since like a powerlifting prep where I had that feeling of like I might throw up, not from intensity, right? It's not like hill sprints or like suicides where you like you're gonna throw up, but it's like it's a central nervous system. You need to sit down, right? Like we just emptied the gas tank, both moving the weight and not falling over all at the same time, and it's like this is fight or flight. We need to sit down."
Oh, well,
Mhm.
I'm just stoked that you got to hang with me. I don't know where the rest of the crew is because I know, well, Ryan and Jason, I believe, were at the CrossFit Games this past week. I'm pretty confident that they were both there. But I know that Ryan and Jason both really wanted to pop on, and I think Brandon was also going to pop on. So thanks for not leaving your girl hanging because I would
You're
have been
welcome.
solo for this first ever live
The,
by myself, and
the
people
one
probably would
guy
have been
who,
real bored.
yeah, yeah, I can't find time to make a podcast, but I'll show up for this, right?
Oh, and there's Ryan, as I
Hey.
was just calling him out for telling me that he wanted to join. And
I'm sorry. It's been a little crazy.
no, no worries. How was the CrossFit Games? Congrats, dude.
Awesome. Thank you. It was great. Like I'm literally just getting situated. I had a little delay in getting back. So, but I'm here.
Well,
It was really good. The team took 7th, and then we had Tudor finish in 10th, and he won most improved. So it was really awesome.
and it was not in Madison, right? It was somewhere else. They moved
No, it
it.
was in Albany, New York, which is a dump. And I can say that because I grew up there. So that's okay. Yeah, but the game, they actually went really well. I thought it was really well programmed. It was obviously far less drama than last year. But it was really good.
Amazing. Ryan, David, I know you guys are in the group chat. You guys have officially met each other.
Yeah, nice to meet you, man.
You too.
Where are you out of?
Yeah. The Phoenix area, so about 30
Okay.
minutes, maybe 40 minutes east of Kandace.
Cool. Very cool.
Myself.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Where are you at? Where are you based
I'm
now?
in Idaho.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Like Greater
Have you
Boise,
always been in
or
Idaho,
like
Brian?
rural Idaho?
If it were up to me, it would be rural Idaho. I'm like 30 minutes outside of Boise.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Nice.
No, I haven't always been. I grew up on the East Coast, like New York, Massachusetts. And then when I got stationed out in San Diego, I just pretty much never left the West Coast.
Yeah, I noticed when we reconnected this round that you were in Idaho, and I was like, I was there for BBCom. Well, I was in like Meridian, Boise area.
Oh
For
yeah,
like 6.5 years.
Meridian. Like I'm in Meridian all the time.
Idaho grew so fast. COVID
It's
times.
it's unsustainable, and I mean it's for sure slowing down. Like they're still building things, but the influx of people are for sure slowing down.
Crazy. Well, anything that you want to, I know we don't have a ton of time, but like 10 minutes. And David, I know if you have to go, you're welcome to stay or go. I don't know how busy your schedule is, but Ryan, do you want to share just
I'm
like
gonna
overall thoughts or takeaways from the games?
pop off. But Ryan, great to meet you, Kandace. Hopefully, I'll see you again.
Thank you,
soon.
David. Appreciate you.
You bet.
I mean, overall thoughts.
Or
I
your
thought it
personal
was
experience,
really-
even.
I'm sorry.
Or just even like your personal experience, if anything you want to share, like moments that happened.
I mean, it's just from a coaching perspective, at least my athlete, right? This is our 3rd year working together, and taking him from what he was to what he finished as just was so awesome. Like, I mean, he was 33 when I first got him, and he was just a hard charger. Like, do everything as hard and fast as possible. And over the 3 years, just like learning the sport, learning not necessarily the science of the sport. I mean, you could call it the science of the sport, but like the nuance of the sport and how to be fast. It's not just going as fast as possible, but learning how to pace, learning where to push, the strategy behind it all, to like see that come together. He was, I believe, the second oldest athlete in the field, which I just think is so cool. He would have, I believe, would have been the oldest if Kristen Holta didn't get called up from an injury from one of the other team athletes. So it's just super cool to see him punch his ticket for the second time. Like, it just makes me feel good that the first one wasn't a fluke, and to really go out in such a high note from what the year's been training wise was just so cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
So
Did
cool.
y'all get to have like a great coach athlete hug moment after?
Yeah, it was
the award?
awesome. I mean, yeah, it was so good this year. And he's one of those dudes that I think is forever going to be in the space. And I don't think our relationship is over. Like, our coaching athlete relationship is over just yet. Pressing his wife pretty hard to let us make a 2026 Masters run. So we'll see how that plays out. I got to let the smoke settle a little bit before I start trying to coerce her a little bit.
Oh, amazing. How was the weather there? Is it pretty warm in
Weather
Albany?
was honestly really good. I got there Wednesday, and it was rainy and super humid, like during the athlete brief, especially for the first event, for the run row outside. They had a brief in the rain, and we thought it was going to be really hot come Friday, but it actually was real temperate. It was like 70s, maybe hit 80. But it was super, super comfortable. And then after that was totally fine. I mean, we were inside after that, but it was comfortable.
I love that. I'm going to pull up your athlete post while you're chatting, so I can share it with everyone. But tell me, what do you guys have going on the pod this week?
Nothing on the podcast this week. Jason is in Orlando, I believe, doing a little family vacation time. So he's at Disney World running around with his entire family and his little ones. I don't know if she's doing the princess tour or whatever, but it looks like they're doing that. So we're taking a week off, get situated, and then we'll pick it back up next week. Probably a little games recap. I know we're going to have Tyler on. We're going to have Tudor on, and Tudor's other coach. Kind of a collaborative effort between a gentleman. His Instagram is Old Country Strong up in Seattle. So we'll probably have him on as well to debrief things.
I love that. Well, since you were traveling last week and the games is a long event and then you're back, how has your own training kind of had to accommodate that schedule? And like, will you ease back into your own training this week?
For sure. I didn't do you're just here, there, everywhere in briefs and whatnot. So I get my 10,000 steps in, and then that's pretty much it. I'm pretty much coordinating things for the team. So yeah, I'll jump back into things, spend some time on a bike, get some easy bodybuilding in, and then I'll pick it up from there. Honestly, I'm so close to hunting season where the work has already been done and now it's kind of maintenance mode, and just feel good is what I'm sticking to for now.
Absolutely. I know we always it's always so exciting to focus on the athletes, but I mean, I know you guys get put through the ringer on a week like that, just from a lifestyle perspective, right? Like lack of sleep, stress, really just being there to physically serve the athletes that you're taking care of. So I'm sure you need some recovery.
For sure. I mean, the time change alone, like I lost 2 hours. So Yeah, the time change, and then standing is just hard. I don't care what anybody says. Standing around for hours on end beats you up more than I'm comfortable saying, but I'll say it anyway.
I love
So,
that.
yeah.
I did create this like playlist for everyone. Actually, let me see if I can share a screen here. Wonder if it will.
I'm liking the branding.
This is you.
Yeah, I like it.
I actually don't think it'll let me change. I have to like actually recreate. Stop screen share. I don't want to mess it up.
I mean, it's the
Okay,
first
okay.
one. It's okay to mess it up.
There we go. Okay, I had to stop that share and then share a different browser. But I did just make a playlist on the OPEX channel. Oh, that didn't go to stage. Let's see. Or can you see it now? There you go. It was just a delay. I made this playlist for all of us.
Hey guys, this week's podcast, we got to interview
Oh,
Cheryl
oh.
Rose. She's a friend of mine who's come into the gym and actually joined one.
There we go. That's Blake.
Very cool.
But this is just literally aggregating every single show into one playlist, every episode that has been released, at least as far back as I got to go this morning. I'll keep adding to it.
Yeah.
Just so that we can kind of like have a single place for people if they just want to listen to all the shows. But you guys, your last episode was kind of a predictions for the games. Did all your predictions come true?
No, not even remotely close. But to be honest, I'm never going to not pick someone from Conquer. So did our weekend go to plan? Not so much. I for sure thought we were going to be at least top 5. We knew we weren't going to do super well in the run workout. We had another one that didn't go quite to plan. So it is what it is. Tudor honestly exceeded all of our expectations. He wasn't even going to compete this year. Originally they had talked. He went through elbow surgery kind of the beginning of the year, and he said he was feeling really good. So they tried a qualifier and he did really well. So him just competing is a huge kind of feather in the cap at the end of the week. And then obviously on the women, we didn't have anybody on the women's side. But Tia is just on a whole nother level. Like, I'm pretty confident she could come back next year and win it again if she really wanted to.
I saw these amazing pictures of the moment with her daughter, like running out
So cool.
to greet her. And then I also saw some things that is Brooke Wells retiring? Is that kind of what had happened there?
Apparently, yeah, that was, I honestly didn't see that one coming. I wasn't there for it, but I saw it on Instagram. So yeah, it sounds like she's hanging it up. I don't know what her next steps are going to be, if she's going to throw her hat in the coaching pool or move on to, something else. But it's cool. I'll tell you, seeing the next generation starting to come up. I think after this year's games, I feel really good where the sport is, and anybody that's counting CrossFit out is, I think, going to be sorely mistaken. I think they're going to be the ones that stand the test of time.
Do you feel like the collaboration or the athletes kind of going back and forth with like High Rocks events and the games, is that something that's mutually beneficial and positive overall for the sport? Or I guess, like, what's your take on how that's impacted things?
I mean, I think it's cool that they're going out and testing themselves in different domains. Like, High Rocks is just such a drastically different sport. I don't think we're going to see a ton of carryover next year. Honestly, I think it's going to dwindle a little bit. I think High Rocks and WFP are both going to dwindle from what they were this year. I'm just, obviously, I don't know the financial backings of it all, but I just don't think anybody does it better than CrossFit. Like, people just don't see what it takes to run an event like that. And between Rogue and the judges and everybody that's involved with that, like, I have nothing but positive things to say about them. And I just don't think you put on something of that high caliber without a decade plus of experience.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm so glad it was a successful weekend for you guys, or week
Yeah.
plus. And I'm so glad that you were able to join for a few minutes and at least say hi. Is there anything that you want to share about what's going on with your coaching week?
I'm in catch up mode. So obviously I didn't have a ton of time on the program. Like, this was survival mode when it came to program design for all my athletes, which, they all knew. So right now is just catch up, connect, and start finish or bang out the rest of the week, get everybody up to speed. And my wife is 38 weeks pregnant, so I got to be real on
Congratulations.
point. Yeah, it's been a wild week. I was fingers crossed the whole time I was at the games that this baby didn't decide to make its bump up its arrival time. So yeah, right now I'm just super focused on getting programs kind of wrapped up for this week, already looking at next week. So whenever this baby does show up, I'm not in a deficit from day one.
Oh man, what a way to close the summer. That's an awesome,
Yeah.
awesome thing. So
Yeah.
congratulations on that. And thanks for popping in to say hi. And next week, maybe we'll have a bit more of a game plan on who's popping in and popping out. Might have to make you guys do individual calendar invites. Otherwise I'll
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
solo and
Yeah.
I'll just be talking about whatever.
Cool. Cool.
All
Well,
right.
I'm looking forward to it. Thanks for setting it up. And yeah, I'll see you on the next one.
Cheers. Have a good day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.